This entire 3D environment was generated from a single image using a new Claude skill called Image Blast from World Labs. If you've never heard of World Labs before, they're the creators of Marble, which is an incredible world model that will take an image, turn it into a 360 panoramic, and then turn that into a Gaussian splat. Now, the difference with Image Blast is that instead of getting one gigantic Gaussian splat for the entire environment, Image Blast is actually going to use Claude and a bunch of other AI models to separate certain key elements from the environment. So what you'll end up with is a sort of clean Gaussian splat of the bigger environment, but then detailed individual meshes that you can then move around, again, in DCCs like Blender, Unreal Engine, etc. So this is a major advancement as far as using AI to generate usable 3D, almost production-ready environments for games, films, etc. Let's take a look at the workflow. To use Image Blast, you're going to need three things. The first is Claude Code from Anthropic. The second is a World Labs account where you're going to go create your own API key and save that. And third is a fall.ai account. Again, you're going to need to create an API key for that as well. Now, I'll link to it in the description below, but you can look at the Image Blast GitHub. It has really clear and simple instructions for installation, which I followed. It went great, but I'll walk you through how the process went from a high level as well. So now to get started actually using Image Blaster, go ahead and make a folder for your Claude project. You can call it Image Blaster if you want. I just put it on my desktop. You're going to navigate to it and then use this git clone command to actually get it installed. Look at the GitHub for Image Blaster for the rest of the instructions. This is pretty much all I did though. The next step and the most fun step is to make an image of the environment that you want to create and turn into a 3D world. This could be a real photo, or of course it could be AI generated. For this demo, I went to fall.ai and used GPT Images 2.0 to generate an image of a brutalist environment with linear warm lighting on the floor and skylight from above that's being used to train robots. So it added a couple robots in there. Hit generate, I got 4 different versions, and this was the one that I chose to go with. So now that you have an image of your environment, make sure to rename it something that's easy to reference later, and take that image and put it in the inputs folder of your Claude project. Then head back to Claude and ask Claude to blast that image, and the whole process is going to be automated and kicked off for you. So while Claude's cooking, you will have to, of course, give it some guidance. It's usually just asking for right permission and maybe something needs to get installed, but the whole process is very automated and you just get to sit back and watch Claude cook. So what's happening in the background here is this skill is using a bunch of calls to the Fall API, and those are specifically Nano Banana, which is going to analyze the environment. I don't know how it does that. It's going to pick out certain key features of it, and then it's going to separate those images of each little environment piece. In this case, it's a robot, it's a piece of the wall, it's one of the flags, and it's going to kick off automatically multiple calls to the Fall API to start generating those images by themselves. At the same time, once it's selected those kind of key objects, it's going to remove those images from the original image, basically making a clean plate. So this is all an automated 2D process that normally would take quite a bit of work in Photoshop or Nuke or something like that, but again, is being completely automated by Claude and Fall, essentially Fall API. And then after that, it's going to take all of those images and then send those off to be turned into 3D models. The Hunwan 3D Tencent, I believe, image to 3D model. That is, again, completely automated. It's going to go create all of those into 3D models. And then the final step that is World Labs specialty in being a world model is that it's going to take the clean panoramic that's been created and turn that into an actual Gaussian splat. And then for people working in 3D, the Gaussian splat gets turned into a mesh. Now, one major caveat when it comes to this process that I want to point out that I experienced is that if you don't have a pro account over at World Labs, is that it's going to be defaulting to the sort of standard, what I would call like low quality preview version of the mesh that comes from the Gaussian splat. So basically, which we'll see in a little bit, once you import that mesh into a 3D program like Blender or Unreal Engine, it's lacking resolution, both in like vert count and also in texture resolution. So it doesn't look as good as the Gaussian splat. To fix this, you can take the panoramic that gets generated. It's going to be in your Claude project. You can go to World Labs, you can upgrade your account to a pro account, and then you just resubmit that actual panoramic that that Claude was automated. You could just do it manually for now. And then when that's done generating the world, you just ask it to download the high quality mesh version. That does take quite a while, but the quality is much, much better. And that is the environment mesh that we're going to be working with in the rest of this video. So now that Claude is done image blasting our environment and going from an image to a full 3D environment with individually editable meshes, let's go see what this looks like inside of Blender. So Blender is a great free 3D DCC to mess around with this type of stuff. And everything that Claude has generated is a 3D GLB file that is natively supported in Blender. We're going to import all of those meshes. Their textures are basically baked right on there for us. Not baked technically, but they're in there that you don't have to manually set them up. And then we can add some lights, rearrange the set as we want. We have completely movable separate objects like the robots and the different architectural elements. Compose that within our world model 3D model that we've created. And we have a really fun environment that we can start using. Next, let's bring those same exact assets into Unreal Engine 5.8 Preview, which is my specialty, and take a look. So a very similar workflow. Unreal Engine 5.8 will import the GLB files with their textures already created, already assembled, and now we're in a pretty interesting world in Unreal Engine. As we bring in the environment with Lumen turned on by default, etc., that environment is essentially unlit. It gives you a pre-made material which you could go dig into, but basically you don't have to light the environment itself. It's unlit. It is just going to glow essentially in sort of a normal way though. And that environment is actually going to emit a little bit of light back on some of the dynamic objects like the player pawn. We're doing the same thing with the robot props, the statues, a couple environmental details. And now, just like in Blender, we have the bigger environment that's already lit with baked lighting essentially, and our individual meshes that can then be moved around. So this was a really fun process. So I laid out a little bit of a scene here. Not very creative, just a bit of a hallway that we'll run back and forth on. I added a couple lights as well, adjusted a little bit of the post process to bring the exposure down. And this is what the final quote unquote gameplay looks like. I know that there's no actual gameplay, but here's me walking around with a default mannequin with a little bit of a modified camera to have it look, I don't know, I kind of envisioned this like this player pawn with the head in the middle. And it's kind of like inspecting the room more than like, attacking or something like that. Okay, conclusion time. Let's recap what we've done here, talk about the results, what's good, what's bad, who's this for, and to me, what does this kind of mean as we move forward into this new kind of AI 3D world? We have essentially automated going from an image to a full 3D environment. And again, in the past, this was only a couple months ago, when you went from Gaussian splat world model to 3D, the entire environment was one mesh. And so that would limit you from having detailed props. So you'd have to bring in other 3D props. And this is a really clever workflow where we're using AI to then, okay, well, we'll just remove those props and regenerate them as more detailed. I think we can see that as this sort of workflow improves, that you could start to have infinite number of props, right? It's always going to take time and computation, but consider an environment that has lots and lots of props, and it's like, okay, let's turn up the kind of like threshold where it's like, yeah, make 100 props of everything you see there, clean it up, and you're just going to get back all these like pre-made props ready to go from a single image. I think we can see the power where this workflow is going to be going. Now, if you're a professional 3D artist right now, especially environment one, you're going to look at these props and be like, image to 3D is still not like production ready, right? And so that depends on how you're using it, but I'm picturing it like shipping in a game. Performant, perhaps not a good use of texture. Environment artists need to usually take like an environment, trim sheet and reuse that on all the props so that there's less memory. It's not going to do that yet, but I wouldn't put it past some of the creative engineers at Fall or at World Labs to be able to start to pull together that sort of thing. That's what I would like to see in the next iteration of this when it's targeted towards game developers is not only are we going to isolate certain props, what we want to start to do, if possible, is find common materials. And these might be generated too, right? So it's like that wall is cement. And you know what? So is that like staircase. They're both cement. Let's generate the cement texture and then do the UV incorrectly. So there's a heavy lift for the AI here. UV it correctly so that all we have is one, let's just call it 4K. We have one 4K cement texture, but the entire environment uses that. And then we could get into trim sheets and kind of standard baking stuff. But I do believe that the core technology is already existing and in place to be able to do that sort of thing. We could generate the texture with patina. We could then, someone's figuring it out, I'm not sure who, but you have to be able to isolate and be like, that's a wall, it's just a cube or a plane, ceiling, cube, plane, and then UV it correctly so that the entire environment can reduce the memory footprint for an actual video game and then use an AI-generated trim sheet. So I think this is a huge step forward. It's super clever. I didn't think about this. I wish I did. And I can see, again, where the next steps would be for using it with games because we need to keep the texture memory footprint much smaller. And the geometry as well could be massively simplified for the main structures. So that was my thought from a game developer point of view because I have developed games, work very closely with Unreal Engine and Unity, and I understand what those environments artists need. I think it's possible. But now, as we zoom out further, what this workflow represents to me is this new sort of transferability between 2D and 3D in an automated way that AI can enable. Now, right now, it's not lossless. As we go from image to 3D model, of course, as we're seeing here, the meshes are not like perfect, right? But I think that that's going to keep getting better. And what's cool is then you can do some composition inside of the 3D world, take a render and make it 2D, and then you're basically going from 2D to 3D to 2D to 3D. And it is lossless at the moment, but I can see a future where this becomes way, way, way more lossless, better quality going back and forth. And I think that's one of the core unlocks here is that we're going to see new, very detailed workflows where I think the quality is actually going to be much, much higher and faster and automated than it has been in the past, where we can just go from 2D to 3D and back and forth. And that is a new way of thinking, a new paradigm. That would have been like infinite labor in the past. You would never do that. But what happens when it's free to go between 2D and 3D and we don't lose quality? I'm not saying that's today, but that is what this workflow shows me. And I think there's going to be some interesting new technical workflows for creators when this is easier and easier. And I think this is really the beginning of that process. So that wraps it up for this video. Shout out to World Labs. This is an incredible workflow, automated with Claude using Fall API and some of the brand new image and video models, or rather 3D models. This is a really cool workflow, ties together perfectly with world models from World Labs. And I can't wait to see more workflows like this in the future. And we'll be covering them here on the Fall YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next video.